All right, you already know. So we'll go into the next one. Obviously, Kyrie opted in with the Nets, and there was a lot of narratives and a lot of hoopla and a lot of just noise and just a lot of talk just on Twitter, social media, period, wherever you go to get your daily dose of interactions or just news on just on what's going on in an NBA on an everyday basis. And for the most part, again, a lot of people were living into this Kyrie can go to the Lakers and this destination and this, that, and that. And you saw me. I stayed solid. I didn't really overreact. I was like, I only started commenting when I heard the Nets say X, Y, and Z, right? And I'm talking about that full throttle. But for the most part, I kind of knew that he would opt in. I was saying this from time. I'm like, yo, it just makes sense to opt in. And I knew the Nets would kind of, would just operate on this side of the fence where, yo, you have to earn it. You were part time, again, rightfully so, because he didn't play. But I know that he didn't play because of there was no exemption. There was a mandate, right? It's not like he chose not to play, even though people are saying because you didn't get the vaccine, you chose not to play. No, no. There's other people who don't have vaccines who are able to play. So it's not necessarily, and also too, they always believed and told him that he was gonna get a mandate, and now you're just forcing him to take the vaccine. You know what I'm saying? To play, like, to each his own. Doesn't mean he's wrong for taking that stance where, yo, I will wait it out. And then now he waited it out. He's going to have a full season. And moving forward, there's not going to be any issues because there's a mandate. So why, you know what I mean? Are you taking the stance of we don't want to have to do what we did with last year? Yes, that was unconventional times. Now you're back to regular schedule programming. You know what I'm saying? There's basically no demand. You have an exemption. Like, even if stuff was to happen, you have an exemption. They're not gonna go back on that. You know what I'm saying? Like, again, obviously people were frustrated. Maybe things were said behind closed doors that now they took that stance and all that type of stuff. So, the organization is gonna organization. They're gonna do that, right? So I didn't agree because I'm like, dog, you still have and the fear of losing him means you probably lose KD, etc. Like, so we'll talk about obviously the train of things, how the things transpired, and just chronological order. But for the most part, I knew he was gonna opt in. Kyrie, he's not right. I mean, he's not dumb. So for the most part, again, it's what elite looks like. Now the Nets could run it back. Again, even though they got swept, they had part-time Kyrie was in full rhythm, fatigue, all of that. When you now uptick the competition, especially the Boston defense, they're throwing him double teams just to run out of it. Like, now fatigue was obviously affecting his shot, his rhythm. He didn't really have rhythm. Credit to Boston's defense, but the team still shot 50% from the field and 40% from three as a team. As a team, even with KD struggling. So imagine KD didn't struggle. What would they have really shot? 60%, 50% from three? Like, come on now. What are we talking about here? So, again, if you keep your core intact, now you add Ben Simmons defensively, you know what I'm saying, who is a forward, plays the one, but is a forward, 6'10", could guard your best player. That's going to automatically, and taking in with all that defense, with KD struggling, they lost every game. It came to one or two possessions in every game that decided how the outcome was going to be in every game. So it wasn't like a sweep, even though it was a sweep. It was a close sweep. Every game was winnable. It came down to the wire. So with KD struggling, with KD getting double teamed every time. Now, one, you're gonna drastically change the offense with Ben Simmons ball handling. KD doesn't have to ball handle and bring it up at times because him and Kyrie were sharing it and playmaking. What he could actually focus more so on scoring because Ben Simmons is gonna play make and KD is gonna be able to be in actions and he could get it and make 1, 2, 3 second decisions in scoring mode right away, as opposed to getting it from up top. Now he has to see the defense. You could throw a double at him, stuff like that. So it changes the offense drastically, which means KD is most likely not going to struggle, which drastically changes the team. Then defensively, you have Ben Simmons on the best player. Even if they switch everything, you have him rotating. He's going to improve the rebounding drastically. He's going to improve the defense drastically. Steals, rebounding, transition. Now he pushes. Now you score more in transition. Look at the Golden State Warriors. When they were padded in the half court versus Boston, how did they get away from that? Transition, transition, transition. The Nets weren't able to transition OD like that because when they get it, they're all coming back, gang rebounding, small ball, all that type of stuff. That now it affects their transition and their pace, which now you're in the half court more, which nice is Boston. And still, it was close. But now you add Joe Harris, who's a bigger body, who now you're not going to be playing Patty Mills if he opts in, and Seth Curry together for the most part. Now you have Joe Harris, who's a 3, 6'6", 6'7", actually has length, pause, and has solid defense, a poor man's Clay. Come on now, what are we talking about? What are we talking about? He's a good defender, not as great defensively as Clay, but he's a good defender. What are we really talking about? So when you add that into perspective, you know what I mean? The team is going to be drastically different. People are just looking at paper and just looking at Ben Simmons, looking at these names like, oh my God, they already got swept with KD and Kyrie. Now you had Ben Simmons who can't shoot and he was bad in the playoffs. What are they going to do? The Ben Simmons you saw isn't going to be the Ben Simmons you see with the Nets because they have space and they have shooters galore. Not only that, even if he's the exact same Ben Simmons, you have skilled guys. You have guys who are of this caliber that they're going to drastically affect each other. It's going to be a positive version of Draymond Green 3.0. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you get the exact same Ben Simmons, that team is like everything's, you'll see. I'm not even going to harp on that because we'll talk about that as, depending on the roster. They still have Andre Drummond as a free agent. LaMarcus Aldridge as a free agent, Bruce Brown, who was very crucial as a free agent. You still want to retain some of these guys. They are rumblings that they're going for Ayton, right? So we'll see how things transpire. But I think if they kept the exact same team, Dragic, everybody, I feel that they're going to be drastically different just with Ben Simmons himself. It's going to change the dynamic of his whole team, how mans are used, the roles, everything, and a full year together, actively playing together, everyday basis, building camaraderie, chemistry, everything. Remember, Seth Curry just got there halfway, one quarter left in the season. Like, Joe Harris wasn't there, right? Ben Simmons didn't play. Kyrie wasn't there. He was part-time. Like, there's so many moving parts that, like, that's why the refs wouldn't even allow this team. If this team won last year as a 7th seed with all of this happening, it would have destroyed the league. Mans wouldn't take the regular season serious. Like, you already know. So it was an uphill battle. I believe that they could have because I didn't expect KD to be used that way. I thought they'll just change and adjust after game 1 and put him in the post where he just turn fade and have quick decisions right away. But even then, they doubled him right away. So, whatever. We'll see how, obviously things transpire. But again, for the most part, with this Kyrie Irving, situation, I kind of saw through what was going on. For the most part, it was just Kyrie. Obviously the Nets didn't want to give him the extension on a max deal, right? Because again, he could opt out or opt in. So that was Kyrie's leverage right there. But they're like, nope. They kind of forced him and called his bluff, right? They're like, no, we're not extending you. Opt in and earn it, right? And he's like, are you still like, he felt disrespected, obviously. Like, it's Kyrie. What you talking about? The part-time, all of that type of stuff wasn't fully my fault. You know what I'm saying? Like, it was a mandate. The mandate is gone. Why are you worried about what happened? That's in the past. We should have amnesia with that. Take that with a grain of salt. That is not going to happen no more. Oh, no, you got to earn it. Rightfully so. They feel that way. The Nets as an organization, Joe feels that, the owner as well, all of that. And then so Kyrie's like, okay, you're going to do that? I'm going to act like I'm leaving and I'm going to put out reports testing these teams. That's why he put specifically these teams I want to go with. So now those teams rile up some attention, rile up some trade packages, send it that way. You get that threat, that fear that is actually on the verge of happening. So now it's like, fine, then Kyrie here. We don't want to lose you. We give you whatever you want, right? And then now y'all played into that, which is perfect. That's what obviously Kyrie wants. Everybody creating hoopla and everybody going around with it. And now the media is creating a storm, media pages, the media in itself, First Take, all these guys talking about it. It creates it feels like reality. Where the Nets again called the bluff and said, no, we're not doing that shit. Don't matter. So now reports come out that if Kyrie leaves and he opts out because y'all don't want to, he's looking at these teams, then now KD's going to leave too. So now you create that fear that if I go, KD goes, so give me what I want. And then now people are talking about that, trade packages, Damian Lillard posting, everybody feeding into it. It feels more real as well too. And then now that's the one thing with the Nets, they stood in their ground, the Nets organization. Other teams would be like, damn, it's too scary right now. Just here, give him what he wants. And they didn't give him what he wants as time played out. Teams are now backing out and they're getting sense that it's kind of capped. So they're like, whatever, yo, we don't have interest. We know it's not going to happen. We're not going to create turmoil with our team saying we want Kyrie. We'll throw this guy, throw this guy, throw this guy. And then they hear of it. And now they want out. It's not even true, fam. Let's just no, we pulling out, we pulling out, we pulling out. The Nets also now come out saying we're willing to lose Kyrie and KD. Whether it was cap or not, we'll never know. But they're also trying to say they're basically it's like alpha versus alpha. They're fighting each other. Kyrie's like, are you stupid? I'm gonna do these things. All right, say less. The Nets are like, say less. Okay, then leave. And what? KD leaves and what? Which I knew they weren't. It would be stupid to lose both of them. But Kyrie did is like, I'm not even going to test those waters because what if they do? Then what? Like, let me just opt in. I don't want to leave. Obviously, I like the situation here anyways. I'm trying to be with KD. You already know. Like, wherever I go, like, this is the best case scenario. If I am winning, it's going to redeem myself in a lot of different things. Like, why would I leave this situation? We only lost because of part-time. They already know that. They already know what it is. So, I don't want to leave. I'm not even going to play with waters like that. I kind of pushed it to the max that I'll push it to. The Nets kind of called his bluff, and now back at it, opt in like nothing happened. So now if he snaps, which he will, have a great season contract year, then he'll get his extension, right? Especially if they win the chip and stuff like that, or even if they don't win the chip, they're very close. Like, you know what I mean? Stuff like that, past the second round, which, you know, all of that, they would have passed the second round if Kyrie never rolled his ankle versus the Bucks. Like, come on now, like, people have amnesia, but we're not going to go into that fully. But for the most part, you can understand why, you know, this is kind of the trajectory. I knew that this was going to happen. I stood my ground. I did get frustrated with the whole Nets trying to just, we don't care if I'm like, dog, I knew it was tactic, but still, why would you even play that hand? Just give him what he wants, fam. What are we doing here? We Gucci. Extend that. But they want us, and rightfully so, I understand why from a business after what has happened. Well, I don't understand because I'm a hooper, I'm a purist. But from a business angle, you can understand why. Okay, you know what? He has to earn it. Especially, we don't know how they're gonna mesh with Ben Simmons. Why will we lock into this full term if Ben Simmons is still not? You know what I mean? Like, we won't earn it. The 1 year experiment. Let's see. We tried this experiment with James Harden. They have PTSD basically, right? The James Harden they just traded. They got rid of so many things in the span of like 2-3 years. That like they clearly have PTSD that just we just want a 1 year of clarity and then we go forward. And I could understand that from just a business standpoint and just security, right? So that's kind of what it was, smoke and mirrors, a lot of the stuff. So, you know, they're back at it. A lot of Lakers fans are disappointed, you know what I mean? A lot of other fans are disappointed because they, especially with KD going here and, you know, Dame, whatever the case is. But, you know, it is what it is. Like I said, we'll see how things transpire. We're going to talk about it more. And, you know, also, too, I did episode 1, if you didn't watch it, about what really happened versus, you know, with KD getting swept versus Celtics, how he was really guarded. The truth, the trained eye of what really happened. So go tune into that. Go watch that. We got episode 2 coming this week as well, too. So pay attention. You already know it's True Talks. True Talks. Share, like, and subscribe. We out here. There's no doubt here. There's no drought here. You feel me? I appreciate y'all. You already know. Let's go on to the next one.